It's one that people don't always think about because the winter, they think no one wants to gather in the winter, but actually there's a lot of really compelling reasons to gather in the winter. Not only are winters typically off season and more favorably priced, more economical to get your group into a quality conference center, oftentimes it's a little bit more, I don't know, I think winter meetings feel more serene. I think they feel quieter. The air is crisper. Things don't seem to be moving as there's more focus on your meeting, particularly when you package food and beverage and experiential elements around your meeting in the winter. It can be just as warm and cozy and exciting and focused as any other meeting, any other time of the year, with the added benefit of some cost savings to your planning budget. Mother Nature doesn't always play nice in the winter. In the spring, we hear this a lot. Sometimes in some markets, you got tornadoes and hurricanes and all kinds of other things. So as our smart planner should always be thinking about what they would do. I call it the power of the pivot. If you're a smart meeting planner, you're already in touch with your venue. As you're making plans for your meeting, you're already in touch with your venue, talking about what happens if. And there's lots of ifs, really, for a planner. I know for our planning team, we're always thinking about asking the right questions of our planners so that we kind of get them thinking about what would happen if. But if you're a smart planner, there's things that you're thinking about. What if there's a dietary restriction that comes up at the last minute? Can my venue handle it? What if there's a weather-related event? And I'll talk about that probably more in a second because there's a lot more around weather-related events. But your head count could drop. What if you went from a 30-person meeting or a 60-person meeting down to a 10-person meeting? Sometimes it's worth it to continue to hold the meeting and perhaps use technology to zoom those people into your meeting so the right people are still in the meeting. But there's ways to do that, to pivot. Let's say you're in this big meeting room and it feels impersonal. With 60 people in it, it might have felt nice, but now with 10 people in it, it doesn't feel so nice. I've had a group that pivoted and went outside and said, can we take our meeting outside? And we moved their meeting out to our perennial garden, and they did the rest of their meeting outside in the perennial garden with a couple of flip charts in the corner. It felt intimate, it felt close, and they didn't lose any momentum on their meeting at all because they still had this feeling of togetherness and camaraderie, even though their meeting have itself in size. There's other things too. You could have people that arrive to your meeting not feeling well. Is this a COVID situation? Maybe not. Is it a flu? Is it a cold? Now are other people starting to get concerned that they'll get sick? Is your facility ready to pivot with you on that? Can they help you get, let's say, COVID test kit and masks? And they change the alternate meeting locations. Can we open windows? Can we put the meeting outside? So things like that. Is your facility ready to pivot that way? Other things that we've had happen, and in my experience in hotels, emergencies. How far are you from a hospital? How soon can emergency management get there? How soon? What's the facilities protocol for when someone falls ill or because of collapses? Is the team ready for that? Are there AEDs? Those sorts of things that we don't like to think about, but planners should always be prepared for that sort of a thing, because we all know that emergencies don't happen on a planned schedule. They happen on some random Tuesday. And are you ready? Is your facility ready for that? And let's say a speaker cancels. What's going to happen then? Maybe your keynote speaker can't make it. What can the facility do to kind of help you fill in those gaps? We had that happen not that long ago. And it was a group that was talking about networking and togetherness and how to work together as a team. And it was really more of a team building. This was a newer team and they were getting to know each other. They had their keynote speaker cancel. And what did? We took them on a nature hike. And we talked about how in nature things work together and how all these things kind of work together in harmony to make one system work. And we use that with some of our guides, our nature guides, to kind of take them through our property and talk about that. So we didn't lose a step. Those are sorts of things that you need to start looking at. And I'm wondering whether or not your facility can keep up with you if you need to pivot at the last minute. And to get creative with you. Weather's probably the biggest component that can be detrimental to your meeting. Let's say you've got some outside games planned. It might be a late fall, early winter meeting. Snow's not on the ground yet, but you want to get people outside around the fire pit and toss some bags around or do some fun games outside, but the weather doesn't cooperate. It's pouring rain, sleet, freezing, all of that sort of thing. There are lots of things that we do inside. We've been known to bring games inside one of our spaces, switching to let's say a karaoke event as a team building off the wall thing, board games, card games, trivia nights, things like that we can do that kind of keeps the camaraderie going. And I think that's one of the big elements of a meeting. There's the information that you give, but there's the feeling that people walk away with. So you want them to walk away with not only the information, but you want them to walk away with the feeling of unity and togetherness and resources that they can call upon when they get back to their offices and they need contact. Now they just met. Those things are really important to keep them on track, even when weather throws you a curveball or any other number of things could throw you a curveball. I think the thing that makes a team, a planning team in particular, worth their weight in gold is their experience in planning meetings. Our team here plans meetings for seasoned planners and for novice planners every day. And so they have this big vault of kind of ideas that they can tap into in order to fill in, whether it's white space or it's a loose agenda that we help them tighten up. I think the key is having a planning team that you're connected with. You don't want to show up to the venue having never met your planner. You don't want to show up to the venue having never gone over the details. And good planners, the planners at facilities like Wingspread that are seasoned, right? Know what questions to ask before you get there. Oftentimes, the planner isn't in attendance. So we're setting up a meeting for someone who's maybe never had a look at the plan, but they come in and they expect it to go off without a hitch. And if all those questions are asked and answered up front, it always does. It's a really important part to have a great, tight relationship with your planner at your facility.